Once, in the province of High Rock, there lived a kind and warm young man. A good-looking boy with brown hair and brown eyes that was loved by everyone around him. Or rather, almost everyone. There were two people, and only two, who despised the young man. His own mother and father. For they were the only ones who saw the young man for what he truly was. Only they knew that the kind and warm demeanor most knew was a facade masking his true nature of limitless ambition and desire for infinite power. Only they could comprehend that the young man was not only talented in the art of illusion, but an illusion in and of himself. The Illusionist is a male Breton between the age of 20 and 30. As a member of the royal family for one of the many city-states of High Rock, he came from a background of wealth and power. By his teen years, the Illusionist was incredibly clever and a master tactician. Archery was one of his favorite pastimes, for archery was an art of precision, and he too was a man of precision. He dabbled in magic with the help of court wizards and excelled in illusion. He was also taught how to use a sword and excelled in the use of one-handed weapons. But given a choice, the Illusionist prefers to use a dagger. Most around the Illusionist saw him as a kind boy, but this was nothing more than a mask for his true nature, one of darkness, ambition, and lust for power. Not even his own parents could fully see through the illusion, but they knew that something was off with their child and feared him because of it. At the young age of 13, his mother, who loved his younger brother more than he, plotted to have the Illusionist killed. She hired an assassin to dispose of her son, but ironically, it was the assassin who was assassinated. Not a day later, the assassin's body was found hanging from the ceiling of his mother's room. His mother later grew mysteriously ill and died. At the age of 15, out of jealousy and fear of the darkness within him, the Illusionist's father gave inheritance of the family name to his younger brother. So, in secret, the Illusionist killed his father and younger brother. Not out of spite or hatred, for the Illusionist knew no such thing, at least not towards mortals. He simply saw them as obstacles in his way, mere ants that needed to be squashed as he climbed the ladder of power. Thus, the Illusionist took control of the royal family, growing in knowledge and power for several years. But alas, the Illusionist grew bored in this time. He began to realize that no matter how long he continued on his current path, he would never be satisfied, not even if he became Emperor of Tamriel. For what is a mortal emperor in face of those with true power? The Aedra, the Daedra, and the gods of Tamriel. It is thus that he developed a god complex, a desire to stand not only atop the realm of Tamriel, but atop the very universe itself. Overcome with his ambition, the Illusionist vanished from High Rock and began wandering Tamriel in search of clues to achieve his goal. One day, while trying to cross the border of Skyrim, he was caught in an Imperial ambush and taken to Helgen for execution. So began the Illusionist's journey as the Dragonborn and his quest for ultimate power. The reasoning behind Breton as the choice for this build is for role-playing and magic resistance. The Illusionist prioritizes magicka and stamina, but has relatively poor health. I recommend around 50% of your level ups towards magicka, 20% towards health, and 30% towards stamina, but as you reach the higher levels, you can start to prioritize health a little bit more. Be sure to choose the Lord Stone as your standing stone for reasons pertaining to magic resistance that I'll address later in the video. By virtue of the Illusionist's personality, the major skill he focuses on is illusion. The two most important illusion spells are invisibility and muffle, which when combined with sneak attacks are utterly devastating. The master illusion spells Mayhem and Harmony are not essential, but very fun to use and highly recommended. The most important illusion perks you'll need for this character are Quiet Casting and Expert Illusion, so you can properly use invisibility and muffle. However, I actually recommend getting every single illusion perk in the tree, not immediately but by some point in your playthrough, especially if you're going to use Frenzy and Calm spells. The next most important skill for the Illusionist is Sneak. You'll need the following perks: 1 stage of Stealth, Backstab, Deadly Aim, and Assassin's Blade. You can also pick up the Shrouded Gloves from the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary if you want extreme overkill, because this will allow you to do 30 times damage in total with dagger sneak attacks. Archery is another important skill for the Illusionist, as it gives him an alternative to daggers and a means to kill dragons. Pick up every single perk on the left path of the skill tree, including all 5 stages of Overdraw and both stages of Steady Hand. Unlike my last build, this is a precision archery build, meaning perks that allow you to zoom in and slow time are just as important as damage perks. Smithing is a skill the Illusionist picked up during his travels in Tamriel, and is yet another important skill. If you don't have the Dawnguard DLC, take the right path up the perk tree, because you can't make Dragonbone weapons unless you have the Dawnguard DLC, and you're gonna have to make do with Daedric weapons. However, if you do have the Dawnguard DLC, which I'm gonna assume is most people, ignore the right path entirely and take the left path, because Dragonsmithing will allow you to make Dragonbone weapons, and this will cost you 1 less perk in the long run. Arcane Blacksmith is convenient, but you can also just enchant your weapons after you improve them if you don't want to waste a perk. Light Armor is the next major skill. The recommended perks for this build are all 5 stages of Agile Defender, Custom Fit, Matching Set, and Deft Movement. This setup should allow you to hit the armor cap of 80% damage resistance without too much difficulty, and gives you a lot of other convenient features. One-handed is up next, and all you want in this skill tree are all 5 stages of Armsman and nothing more. Because the only one-handed weapon you're going to be using is daggers, and most other perks don't affect daggers. Enchanting is yet another essential skill for this character. The perks you'll want are all 5 stages of Enchanter, Insightful Enchanter, Corpus Enchanter, and Extra Effect. Be sure to enchant your helmet, gloves, necklace, and ring with Fortify Archery to get the maximum amount of archery damage with your character. Now let's talk about magic resistance and alteration. This character can attain a near 100% magic resistance without too much difficulty, which makes killing any dragon or magic user in general a complete walk in the park. To do this, first choose the Breton, as this will give you an inherent 25% magic resistance. After this, pick the Lordstone as your standing stone, which will give you another 25% magic resistance for a total of 50%. Complete the Book of Love quest, which is started at the Temple of Mara in Riften and rewards an extra 15 magic resistance for a total of 65. Pick up 2 stages of the magic resistance perk in the Alteration skill tree at 10% each for a total of 85%. Do not pick up the 3rd stage, because magic resistance caps at 85%, but we're going to use an exploit to get around this. Using the Extra Effect perk, enchant your boots with a 12.5% or higher resist fire and resist frost enchantment. Then, Extra Effect enchant your necklace with a 12.5% or higher resist shock enchantment. This will give you a 97.5% resistance to all magic, which is the true cap. At this stage, dragons can effectively do no damage to you, and you can just kill them at a distance with your bow. Alchemy is an optional skill that is very useful, but the only question is whether it's worth grinding to level up the skill. This character absolutely needs enchanting and smithing, which is already going to require a lot of grinding, but if you don't mind the monotony, it is worth it. For role-playing purposes, the Illusionist should have high speech, but it's questionable how useful speech actually is, so this is optional. Now let's go over the optimal endgame setup for this character. You can do all of this once you have 100 smithing, 100 enchanting, and all of the necessary perks in those skill trees. First, stock up on Grand Soul Gems. You will need a total of 11 Grand Souls. They can be bought from vendors, or you can fill empty ones with Mammoth Souls. Obtain the Fortified Smithing enchantment, and then enchant any necklace, armor, ring, and gauntlets with Fortified Smithing using your Grand Soul Gems for the maximum effect. Next, craft and improve a Dragonbone bow, a Dragonbone dagger, and a full set of Dragon Scale armor while wearing the smithing gear that you enchanted. Now, obtain the Fortified Archery enchantment and enchant your Dragon Scale gauntlets, Dragon Scale helmet, any necklace, and any ring with Fortified Archery, once again using Grand Soul Gems. Finally, enchant your Dragon Scale boots with both Resist Fire and Resist Frost, then extra effect enchant your necklace with Resist Shock in addition to Fortified Archery, all using Grand Soul Gems. From here, pick up Muffle and Invisibility, then if you haven't already, get Quiet Casting, Expert Illusion, and all the Sneak, One-Handed, Archery, and Light Armor perks that were specified in this video. If you've obtained all the necessary perks and follow the magic resistance guide, all of this should give you maximum possible physical damage resistance, virtually 100% magic resistance, and insanely high-powered weapons on top of that. Finally, let's get into how to use this character. Anytime you run into an enemy or group of enemies, cast Muffle followed by Invisibility. After this, pull out your Dragonbone bow and take care of all enemies at a distance or sneak attack them at close range with your Dragonbone dagger. Every time you sneak attack, you'll unfortunately lose invisibility, but you can just cast it again and pretty much continually sneak attack enemies. Special enemies like dragons and dragon priests can cause some problems, but if you follow the magic resistance guide, they can do barely any damage to you. Your strategy against them should be to keep your distance and let them hit you with magic attacks while you kill them at long range with your bow. Finally, Mayhem and Harmony are very fun and useful spells that can be used well with this character. You can cast these spells and quite literally go through entire dungeons without having to fight a single enemy. There is a limit to their effectiveness due to level caps, but trust me when I say they're super useful and fun to use. Alright guys, well that's pretty much all I have for this character. Let me know your thoughts and if there's any way this build could be improved down below in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in my next video.